Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Well, Chris, it's been a long time since we've podcasted. I've learned a new skill.
Sure, what's that?
I've learned impressions. I can do impressions now.
Okay, all right, cool.
So I'm going to do an impression, and it's just going to be the one, and I want you to tell me who I'm imitating. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
okay.
Sure. I thought you were like gonna take requests or things like that.
No,
yeah.
I only have specific impressions I can do.
Sean Connery, you know.
No, can't do that one.
No, okay, all right.
Can't do that
enough. One. All right.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, hit me with it.
Mamma mia! I've forgotten that the trains exist. Who am I?
Fuck. Wait. Oh my god. I don't know who you are. It's been so long. My brain has melted that I don't know who you're talking about.
I am Italian Elon Musk.
Oh, okay. So can I am so sorry. I have blocked Elon Musk on my timeline. So when I have been seeing a lot of quote tweets today. I know he said something stupid, but I have not dove deep into it.
No, that's just general stupid. The Italian Elon Musk was that one Twitter account that was exactly what you think it was, that Elon Musk got upset about because he thought it was harassment or something. And so they banned him from Twitter, and now you can't make an account that says Elon Musk in it because Elon Musk complained because he's a snowflake.
Oh, yeah. Well, He's just a national treasure, isn't he?
Yep. And he doesn't know the trains exist. Oh, look at me! No one can solve traffic. Nobody. Just give them trains.
Yeah,
I'm sick of them.
Yeah, I really am too. There is he provided internet to the people who need it right now in Ukraine, and it's like, okay, great, that's a great thing that he did. He's still a shitty human being.
Yes, you can do one good thing and still be a bad person.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's there is definitely that is definitely one shitty person that we've had to talk about. There's going to be other shitty people that we have to talk about today, as there's a lot of news going on. As you guys know, this is the first time.
Really, what's happening?
Oh, there's a few things we'll touch upon, but it does. Luckily, a lot of those shitty people are later on, at least, so it won't be right out of the gate. But yes, it has been a long time since we have reported to you. Life has happened for both of us in many ways, and life will probably continue to happen for at least the next few weeks. Correct. So it's
sorry, Doc of Shame listeners.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm still trying to make time for the coop and things like that, but I'm getting a master's degree, so it's a lot of my mental energy has to be devoted to that. And also just recording is just it's tough to kind of get those things organized. So I assure you, we're going to get back to VUBFL at some point. We'll probably April will be our time to do that. But even if it's not April, if we have to push it to May, that's fine. We'll get that season wrapped up for you guys, and then we'll begin preparations for season 3. Even if it takes a little bit of a shorter, we have less time to prepare for the next season. Even if we do the next season, for all we know, we'll see. VUBFL will be done. But for right now, we're back. It's our first off-season episode. It is a whole fuck ton of news, my dudes. That we have a lot to talk about. And so here we go. This is I have a list of things that we're going to talk about today, and that's all we're going to do. And what do you think is our lead story here?
My mortal enemy.
Your mortal enemy? Is it Aaron Rodgers?
Is Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Okay.
He's actually much later on in this.
Okay.
in this.
It's been a fucking while, so I don't know where we last left off. What are we starting with, Chris?
well, let's start with the fact that Tom Brady decided to unretire. Let's start there.
That happened after, so that was off in the timeline. But it's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, that was Tom Brady. And I guess I think I was in the camp of I thought he would stay retired because it always felt like he would retire for good whenever he would announce it. But nope, he retired, and then a month with the kids, he couldn't stand it, and so he decided to come on back. But Brady's back, and he said in his tweet that he's back with the Buccaneers. He does not seem like he is seeking a trade, Matt. What is your thoughts on Brady's return?
I think Brady saw how easy the NFC is going to be and figures that this is going to be his chance.
Oh, yeah, God. It's a mess, this NFC. Are you kidding? Yeah.
He is the only competent quarterback in his division currently. Matt Ryan's good, but, the Falcons, so...
Right. Yeah, no, it is... This division is one for the taking, and it did seem like it was going to be a rough division to watch. And I am happy he's back, weirdly. I think I've realized there was a period of my life where I definitely felt like, man, you're going to miss him when he's gone, even though you hate him so much. And I used to scoff at that. And now I think about it, I'm like, you know what? Tom Brady is the perfect villain in the NFL, because he has this good look, to him, where he is just this nonstop force in the NFL, and that no one can stop him, no one can hold him back, and I don't know, there's just something about that energy that I feel like I was going to kind of miss after a while. And so the fact that he's back already, it's just kind of like, all right, you know what? Especially in a shitty NFC, why not Tom Brady come back?
Sure.
Hi,
Tom.
I don't really, I'm not really too mad about that. But I definitely think that he's definitely going to make the Buccaneers more appealing now in free agency. We've already seen a few of the players that they were going to lose come back.
Yep.
So I don't think they're going to get everyone, and certainly the team I don't think is going to be too much better than they were the last few years, but
they will likely win the division. So
yes,
they got that going for
them. They don't need to improve much. Is the thing in order to win this division at this point. So there's that. So that he's back. We know what else also happened. Russell Wilson's a Bronco.
Sure is.
Russell Wilson is, as of 24 hours from now, we're recording this on Tuesday. By the way, we should say we're recording this on Tuesday, March 15th. It is 6:12 p.m. Eastern time.
It is the Ides of March.
It is the Ides of March. There is a very likely chance that by the time you're listening to this, that some shit has happened that we don't know about in this timeline, but we'll know about when you are listening to this. So just know that we're gonna try our best to give as much recent information as possible in this podcast, but we can't keep up with the NFL news cycle because it's nonstop. But anyways, Russell Wilson is a Bronco now. He's going to be traded on Wednesday officially, and yes, this came with a shit ton of picks for the Seahawks. I believe it was 2 first, 2 second round picks as well as a handful of players. That includes Noah Fant, now a Seahawk, Drew Lock, a Seahawk, and Shelby Harris is also a Seahawk. So, monster trade, one of the biggest trades in NFL history, Matt. What is your impressions, especially now a week after this trade happened?
So we got the Rams strategy of, hey, go all in this year to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's going to be a little bit harder for Denver, I think, overall. And the strange thing is, one of the reasons why I think Denver was so appealing for a quarterback was because of Noah Fant as a receiver.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
But he's not there anymore.
Yeah, that was a weird one, but they do have quite a selection of wide receivers there, and yeah, the Russell Wilson being a Bronco feels very weird. I think overall the trade's gonna work out for the Broncos because they'll be competitive and they seem like they have a lot of talent on their roster. But I don't know. Like this is such. It's wild to see the difference between the NFC and AFC right now, where the NFC it is, and we had it last year, but more than ever right now, it just feels like you have like the 3 or 4 teams that are going to compete at the top of the NFC, and then in the AFC, it's just like you have entire divisions that could win the Super Bowl. And the AFC West certainly, especially after what we've seen in free agency and these trades, has been beefed up to no end right now. It is wild, but like, what is your thoughts on Russell Wilson? Like, actually, like being, like, do you feel like that this team can win the division in their current state?
I think if it was any other division, they would have a chance. It's going to be a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think especially with a first-year head coach, like, we don't know what their situation is going to be there. And also, in terms of the Seahawks side of things, it's like, it is amazing to kind of see an end of an era. We could get to my next story I had here was that Bobby Wagner was released along with that. And so you have Bobby Wagner gone, your longest tenured defensive player, and Russell Wilson, your longest tenured offensive player, both gone. Now you have all these guys that you got from the Broncos, and you have all these picks, and then you have Pete Carroll, who has seemingly made it sound like this is a team that is trying to win now still. And
don't get rid of Russell Wilson if you're trying to win now.
Yeah, I don't know what the strategy is here. I guess they're just saying we're going to try to win now just to keep, fans in the stands necessarily. But
yeah,
this feels like a rebuild, and we don't know how well the Seahawks are going to do with this rebuild, considering the fact that their draft history has been murky at best, and we have not seen the Seahawks without Russell Wilson in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wild shit happening there.
Yep. It's also the first time that a Super Bowl winner has been traded to the team he beat in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, very, very weird, very, very strange circumstance here. I was thinking about this. There is not, when I was really started watching this league back in like 2013, 2014, like there's only like a few quarterbacks that are still on the teams that they were on back then. Like Matt Ryan, is still on the Falcons. Aaron Rodgers obviously still on the Packers. Weirdly, Derek Carr around that time period, he's still a Raider, even though like nearly a decade later, he's still there. But almost everyone else has turned over and changed, and so that's just the motions of the league happening. Yep. Where it's just one longtime member has to move on either via retirement or via trade. So yeah, sucks for Bobby Wagner. But he'll probably be better off somewhere else at this point. Speaking of linebackers, who've and speaking of linebackers and trades, Khalil Mack is a Charger. That is after a trade took place where the Bears decided to send Khalil Mack to the Chargers. I forget what the draft compensation was. I think it was a second rounder.
Yes. Second rounder, and then they swapped picks later on.
I see. Yeah. So, you are a resident Bears fan, Matt. What was your thoughts on this?
It is unfortunate because Khalil Mack has been like, when he came on, it was the hottest shit. It was a revival of the Chicago fandom. Bears made it to the Super Bowl that year. I remember texting you that morning, so fucking excited, and that's how you found out about the news.
Yeah.
So
when you say Super Bowl, you mean the playoffs, right?
Playoffs, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been a long couple days.
That's okay.
What do you mean they won the Super Bowl? No,
yeah, right. Yeah, you remember Khalil Mack just holding up that trophy, that Lombardi.
He's been injured the past couple seasons, hasn't really been able to be his full self. So I think getting a second-round pick out of it, not too bad overall.
Yeah.
I will miss him, and I really am looking forward to the Chargers now. But the Bears are in a weird limbo. Whatever the Bears do this year, if it doesn't involve offensive line in some way, I don't give a shit. Anything else could happen. Get a better offensive line. That's all I care about.
Yeah, not a lot of movement on that front, but
nope.
It's interesting because I think there's been some discourse about how the Raiders-Bears, that whole Raiders-Bears trade ended up working out, and I think the consensus seems to be that it was kind of null at the end of the day, where neither team ended up really like improving all that much because of the trade. Obviously, Khalil Mack had the 1 year where he was amazing, and then they made it to the playoffs. But even when he was playing amazing with that team, the years after that, it was that Bears team was hard to kind of get back into the groove of what that season was like. I'm sure that there's gonna be a lot of people who will look at this and be like, well, maybe Khalil Mack is getting older. He's not playing at the level that he used to. Send him off to the Chargers and he won't perform as well. But I do think that this environment is gonna matter to him being alongside Joey Bosa. And I just there's something about this trade that I just feel like is really gonna work out for the Chargers. And not to say it can't work out for the Bears too. I mean, certainly they have new leadership now, and we'll see how their first draft is with the new head coach GM combo.
I will say I do not feel swindled by this trade.
No,
another team should feel swindled. And we'll talk about when we get to that player.
Yes. But I think this is another one of those. It's so hard to really judge trades right now, like if how good a trade is. You have to see how everything plays out, what the picks end up being. But I think right now, you're right. Where it's like this feels like Khalil Mack was not really like the biggest name on the field in the last few years. And getting a second rounder for that, which tend to end up just being like leftover first rounders, in terms of who you end up picking up. Like, it's probably for the better that you got this compensation instead of just having to release him and then having just not gotten anything in return. So
right, yeah, works out.
Now we move on to the Commanders, who have decided on a new quarterback, and that is Carson Wentz for some reason. The Colts have decided to send the Washington Commanders to send the Washington Commanders Carson Wentz. I'm trying to remember what the compensation was for this. It ended up being like something absurd. I think it was a second round pick.
Yeah. The crazy thing is that the pick that the Colts paid to the Eagles has not yet been selected.
Yeah.
And he's already out of Indy because he sucked.
The Colts receive a 2022 third round pick, a 2023 third round pick that escalates to a second rounder if Carson Wentz plays 70% of snaps, and it also says here a 2022 second round pick. I don't think that's accurate, but who knows. The Commanders receive Carson Wentz in return, as well as a 2022 second round pick. This one was a weird one. Obviously Washington just was like, hey, we tried to get Russell Wilson, didn't work out for us, so we know what the next best thing is. It's Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
I
really liked that picture you retweeted a while ago. That was the horse drawing that got progressively worse as it went on, where they like made an offer to Mahomes, and then it was like, oh, but maybe we could get Russell Wilson, but then the Seahawks were like, nah, we don't want the NFC.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely the vibes that this
Washington is an embarrassment of a franchise. They chose a bad name. Dan Snyder sucks. This is not going to end well for them. Carson Wentz is not going to magically become fixed. They tried that in Indy. He had an insane level of support around him in Indy, and he still didn't get it done. So I don't think it's going to happen in Washington, which is a worse run team than Indy is.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, we don't want to leave the Colts off the hook. They did trade Wentz for a first round pick in exchange.
Oh, for sure.
That is a rough go of it. I will say, like, I think that a lot of people are remembering the end of the season a lot compared to what the rest of the season was. Now, granted, I'm not saying at all that he was great. He was good at times. He was manageable during some of the games. And then there were times where he just completely collapsed like he did in that Jacksonville game. So that's what Washington is settling for, and it's ultimately a settle. They are totally okay with what Carson Wentz does and is, and I don't think that they're going to necessarily change him or improve him in any way. So it feels like a bridge quarterback situation for the Commanders, but it feels weird that you even had to trade for him. Like, I feel like, I don't know if the Colts had plans to release him at all, but good for the Colts to get compensation back in any way. But I feel like giving up anything for Carson Wentz at this point, it's just iffy at best, especially still like second or third rounders. It's just is a bit on the strange side to me. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a tire fire disaster of Carson Wentz, but it's not gonna get them to the playoffs, unless their defense gets back to where it was back in 2020.
Even then,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and because the Colts are also a talented team, and they fell apart at the end because of their quarterback play. And it's also like there's also the fact that Carson Wentz, from everything that we hear about him, doesn't seem like the floweriest, teammate. Like, he doesn't seem like the one that's like, oh, everyone loves Carson Wentz. Everyone would go to bat for Carson Wentz. It's everything that we keep on hearing is that he seems very unlikable. And so that's also gonna go again. That's gonna make that Commanders locker room just 10 times better than it is, I'm sure already. Then we have more trades. The Browns are getting Amari Cooper.
Swindled the Cowboys.
For
Amari Cooper.
Yeah. No, this was.
They got him for a fifth.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me, Dallas?
Yeah.
Jerry. My goodness.
It is wild. Like, I understand that Amari Cooper's impact seemed to kind of like start to diminish slightly in Dallas.
But a fifth?
Yeah, that just feels weird. It also, because wasn't Amari Cooper traded to Dallas for a sniff amount? Like, I think we talk about we talked about the Carson Wentz, that deal, how that went down, and we also talk about Khalil Mack and that trade. This was another one. It says, so it looks like the Oakland Raiders sent Amari Cooper to the Cowboys for a 2019 NFL Draft first-round pick. And so what they got was a few years of Amari Cooper, then they sent him away. Well, he's still pretty good.
He is still a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Even if he's your he's, now that Landry got released, which we'll talk about that, Cooper's the number one in Cleveland. But he's still a very serviceable wide receiver, too, at the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
He would probably be the best wide receiver, too, in the league, if that were the case. But Cleveland, good on ya.
Yeah, no, it definitely a really nice pickup, and I actually forgot to really write down a lot of the players that have been released, necessarily, but because there's just so fucking much to talk about. But yes, no, when touching upon Jarvis Landry, I'm surprised he's gone, but I also can imagine that things are probably soured between the two parties, and it just kind of made sense to kind of send him away at this point. But yeah, no, Amari Cooper with the Browns feels like a good fit, and we'll see. Kind of, there's a lot of different factors happening right now where things like they probably could get a new wide receiver to kind of pair with Amari Cooper, or they could there's also the talk about potentially acquiring a quarterback. That could happen. So we'll see kind of how that all unfolds with the Browns, but it just feels like a pretty decent move, a nice exchange. See you later, Jarvis Landry. Hello, Amari Cooper. Doesn't seem like it's a net loss on the Browns' part. Yeah, no, the Cowboys are definitely weird for them. It's worth noting, though, they did at least get DeMarcus Lawrence back, or at least they at least restructured his deal so they didn't have to worry about that front. They did seem to get Randy Gregory back, but that didn't work out for them. We'll talk about that later. Speaking of the Browns, another trade that happened, and we'll talk about both of these trades at once because I think they pretty much have like a similar, they're not all that big, but Browns got Chase Winovich from the Patriots in exchange for I believe it was I had it written down. I think it was hold on. I'll get the exact name of the guy. It was one of their Mac Wilson. Yeah. Who has been a part of that Cleveland defense for a while. So Mac Wilson goes to the Patriots. Chase Winovich goes to the Browns, and then the Patriots traded offensive guard Shaq Mason to the Buccaneers. This is very interesting to me. Both of these trades, but kind of like combined, where I'm like, it seems like the Patriots are trading away assets and kind of letting some assets go, and because J.C. Jackson, I think, being one of the big signings that have happened thus far for the Chargers, he's moved away from the Patriots. What is the Patriots doing? I'm very confused because if they're not there is some older guys on this roster that should be released and or traded away, especially on the defensive side, but they got rid of Chase Winovich, who had a really good rookie year. Maybe not as good of a second year, but it feels weird that they just got rid of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
This doesn't really make a whole lot of sense there. But whatever. If they get their compensation, they'll be fine. You know what fucking started this entire offseason, at least starting from last week? Fucking Calvin Ridley. We've completely forgotten about this. But Calvin Ridley, he is out for 2022 season because he gambled on NFL games.
All right. So I am a dynasty manager of Calvin Ridley, so I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But, so a lot of talk has been happening lately about Calvin Ridley's suspension in relation to what other people have gotten.
Yes.
And in terms of people who have been caught for mostly domestic violence and other things.
Yes.
Where he's got such a long sentence compared to people who have caused domestic violence. And I agree with those tweets a good amount. I don't think that I don't think that Ridley is in the right whatsoever. I think that he should not have bet, even though he wasn't on the team.
Sure.
Because it's part of it is a conflict of interest that I don't think should be brought in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that yes, he should be punished for it, but I don't think domestic abusers should be in the league either. So
yes, yeah,
I think both opinions can be held pretty well.
Exactly. No, it is. It is bizarre to me that they're going to they suspended him for a whole year, but they are also in the process of embracing gambling in a way that is kind of no one really probably have seen coming before, because it's. But I think it's just that the money is there and they want part of it. I agree. Like, I think that Calvin Ridley should be suspended for a good chunk of time. To say a year it just feels like it feels like a little intense, but I get it. I understand. Like, there is the integrity part of the game, and generally speaking, as an NFL employee, regardless of if you're working on the field or not, like, if you're a employee of that league, you're not allowed to gamble because there is the just inherent worry about conflict of interest. And so you just
can't do that.
No, it's not right. It's not good. So I get it. I totally get it. I do think it's a little harsh, especially when you do compare it to other, another suspensions in the way that they've handled other punishments in the past, and the people that they continue to kind of allow play in the league, versus a guy that is made a dumb mistake with gambling, but overall that doesn't really make him like a terrible human being.
Not at all.
So it is bizarre where their priorities are, but I get the suspension and I get the punishment in that regard. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
So I wrote down here, Kyler Murray saga. This was kind of the main story of February, pretty much, where after everything that happened with his Instagram, then there was the report that came out on Super Bowl Sunday that Kyler Murray is a finger pointer and not a good teammate. Doesn't want to take any of the blame necessarily. And then Kyler Murray released a statement saying he knows what he is, he knows what his worth is, and then it's become a contract situation. He has since revived all those photos on his Instagram. It's a mess. It feels like a mess. I don't think it's going to cause him to necessarily be traded or anything. I mean, who knows? Maybe it will. But I think that whatever issues seem to be there might be able to subside if the contract is there for Kyler Murray. Clearly, he wants a new contract. He wants to be paid like a star quarterback. He certainly does deserve to be paid that kind of money. But Matt, it's a mess.
I love messes.
You're enjoying this. You're enjoying this saga.
No. It's just like it's tiring. I hate it when social media when I hate it when social media is taken into such like a high regard for how a player is feeling, and that's the thing that I'm most annoyed about this whole situation. It's like, oh, we unfollowed people. Are you in high school?
Yeah, that's it is. People take it and run with it. It's just like, okay, like it's a weird. it's just the age of social media. It's the age of like where like how people behave on social media has just become such a focal point for a lot of people nowadays, because it's like the new, people trying to follow celebrities around with cameras. I mean, that still does happen, but it's just an easier way to track people now, and so tracking their every move on social media, it ends up becoming a bigger deal than maybe it should be on that front.
Yeah.
But clearly, though, it went beyond social media the moment that the reporting came out the way it did about Kyler Murray, because clearly someone in the organization decided to give Chris Mortensen of ESPN some juicy deets about Kyler Murray by either slandering his name or speaking facts. We don't know either way, and then obviously Kyler Murray coming out and trying to defend himself. It feels like it feels slightly untenable when you look at that from the surface. Maybe that stuff gets kind of sorted out, but the fact that both Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim appeared to get like contract extensions in the last few weeks kind of signals that, like, I don't know, that the organization feels like it's going to want to stick with those guys over Kyler Murray if there is truly like this inner war that's happening. It's bizarre. I'm sure none of us really know what the true story is, and we'll find out, I'm sure, in the coming years, probably. I don't think anything's gonna get resolved necessarily in the coming months, except for maybe if they decide to give him his contract. We'll see. All right, let's talk about Hatsune Miku. Aaron Rodgers got his contract extension with the Packers. He decided that he's going to stick with them, which is not really a surprise, considering the reporting that had been out there. Packers are sticking with their moldy quarterback.
You know what I'm excited for, though? Is if Devontae Adams refuses his franchise tag, and then they don't have enough money to sign him, and then Aaron doesn't have any wide receivers.
That's gonna be an interesting storyline. Yeah, it feels like the Packers have the leverage, though, and so it's like
it feels like a trap to get excited about that.
No, I think unfortunately I think it is a trap, but I totally get where you're coming from, though, and like maybe. But it would piss Aaron Rodgers off so fucking hard.
That's what I want.
Yeah, if they trade, like, they would, any fucking bridge building that has happened. Clearly there has been enough bridge building where Aaron Rodgers said, I want to stay with the Packers, right?
Yep.
So, like, clearly any burnt bridges that were there, they've been repaired. If Devontae Adams gets traded, like, Aaron Rodgers would take a fucking bazooka to that bridge and then throw the bazooka, the entire weapon, to fucking Brian Gutekunst's head and just knock him out cold. He would be so infuriated with this organization. So there is no way, no how, I unless they are just dumb shits over there, that there's no way they're trading Devontae Adams.
Hello, Jordan Love.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, they would just imagine that they fucking anger him that much. Oh my god. So that's that. Also, speaking of quarterback extensions, Kirk Cousins, he's back with the Vikings.
The most meh extension of the offseason.
He got even more guaranteed money, and he has a no trade clause, so he has all the fucking leverage.
Why are they doing this? Kirk is an okay quarterback. He doesn't deserve that level of treatment.
It's that he's a swindler. He's always been like that.
I know, but the Vikings have only won with Kirk Cousins when Kirk Cousins plays near perfect. Right. If he makes any sort of subpar play, the Vikings are shit.
Yeah. I don't know, man. They seem like they're willing to go another year. I mean, it's
well, what else are they willing to do on top of that? Because they haven't really signed anyone else.
No.
Mediocrity.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin O'Connell is now the head coach. I mean, this is the first time. This is the first coaching change for the Vikings in years. So, maybe they're like, let's see what things are like with the new head coach. And then...
I still think they need some sort of personnel change. Like, as a Bears fan, I've always looked at the Vikings as the past decade, really, and it's been like, if we can't do it, it can be you.
Right.
But now, it doesn't seem like they want to.
I mean, what I will say is that, like, it does, they still seem to have a pretty decent, like, offensive makeup around Kirk Cousins.
For sure.
Not
Kirk,
that...
Kirk, Dalvin, and then Jefferson and Thielen, all great.
Yeah. It's
great
not,
together.
Not that they've, like, it has not outputted a playoff season that's notable. You know,
right.
I mean, certainly, like, you know, you had the one season where it was, they won in the Superdome, but then they got, like, torched by the 49ers that one year. But yeah, no, they definitely need another. They definitely need to look into changing things up, but I think that they're just going to be gung-ho about, like, we still have some decent players here. Let's try to win now. Let's try to see what we can do. But right now, like, when you look at the NFC, and I mean, we've already talked about this, but I'm, like, looking at each of the divisions, and, like, we've commented already about how, like, it's going to be the Buccaneers division to lose because everyone else around them are just completely mediocre.
Yep.
But when you look at the NFC North, it's kind of the same story.
It's not much different, no. Yeah.
It's kind of because you have a lot of personnel changes, at least with coaching, at least across two of those teams, and then
the Lions.
The Bears, you can argue, might be in a rebuild situation. Lions are, you know, Dan Quinn ended up kind of having a decent comeback for what was a really rough start to their year.
Dan Campbell, you mean?
Dan Campbell. What did I say? Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn,
yeah. Dan Campbell. And then the Vikings, which I don't know what they're going to do right now. But considering where the Packers have been, you say what you want about them choking in the playoffs. They're
which
great,
I will say plenty.
They're a great regular season team, so it's
they are one of the best regular season teams ever. They will go 12-5 to 13-4 almost any season you put them in.
Right.
They will finish with that record. Then they choke to the 49ers in the playoffs. That's just what they do.
It's just what they do. That's just how it rolls. I figured I wouldn't really touch on this next one until it actually happens, but might as well just say the gate. Desean Watson, of course, got his criminal charges. Did not get any criminal charges for any of the allegations. There are still 20-something fucking civil suits that he has to go through. And just the air of him just being a horrible human being to clear up. But teams now, screw those civil suits because teams are ready to sign him at any moment. The Saints and Panthers specifically have been in the hunt for him, so have the Cleveland Browns, and a dark horse candidate in the Atlanta Falcons. In fact, the reporting has been, and I don't know who actually was the reporting here, but there was someone that ended up following up on Schefter's report about Falcons being a dark horse, saying that Desean Watson has actually directly showed interest to wanting to go to the Falcons, which is very interesting, but at the same time, I don't like that we're even discussing any of this, because all those victims that had been wanting this guy to face some sort of fucking consequences for his horrible actions just got completely screwed out of it because the grand jury only wanted to hear like one of the fucking people.
Yep.
It is abysmal. It is an indictment on the justice system as a whole. When you have that many people come forward, there's no way that it's fake. There's no way that, like, you would have to prove that so hard to me, because when you see with that many people come forward, there is just no way that he isn't some kind of horrible human being. And we've gone over it before on this podcast, but it's just it's really annoying to me. It's just annoying to me that this always happens in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate reality of us being such big NFL fans, is that we have to deal with horrible people and corporations and the business wanting and prioritizing money over health and respect and, human rights.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Wish it didn't have to come this way. I hope he does not go to the Panthers because I still want to be able to root for the Panthers.
Right.
But yeah, I hope that like this year off is kind of like Le'Veon Bell's year off in the sense that he basically forgets how to play football and just sucks. And just sucks shit.
Yeah.
And then everyone can point and laugh at them.
Yeah, it is going to be a huge haul. Whatever this trade's going to be a huge haul. So they're going to mortgage their future rather, on a guy that who knows? Like we don't even know if he's going to not continue that behavior. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like that's the thing about this is that there's no idea. We have no idea if he's even learned a fucking lesson from any of this and learn not to be a horrible person. But it's a bummer. It's a real bummer, and we're gonna have to talk about it at some point. That when he does get traded, it's gonna suck shit no matter what. And Andrew Whitworth has retired.
Good for him.
The offensive lineman from the Rams Super Bowl, and of course the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and seems like an all around good guy. And so yeah, good for him. Super happy to see that he has that he's gonna be hanging it up, and the Rams have already re-signed Note Broom, who has been the backup, who has done pretty well in the absence.
Yeah.
In whenever Whitworth has been absent, so the Rams are in good shape. Good for Andrew Whitworth, an all-time great from both the Bengals and the Rams. Still kind of crazy that he got pretty much the perfect ending where he got to play his former team in the Super Bowl. Just pretty fucking wild right there. All right, let's go through some of these free agency stuff. I have a lot written down here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go rattle them off, and we'll stop at the ones that are interesting. All right. Alex Cappa to the Bengals, Chase Edmonds to the Dolphins.
Pretty cool.
Mitchell Trubisky to the Steelers. What's your thoughts?
Good
on this
for
one?
him. I hope he gets a second chance. I hope he finds some success.
Yeah.
I feel I liked Mitch a little bit, and I wanted, despite him not being that great of a quarterback in Chicago, I think that he has a chance to at least find some success in Pittsburgh.
How could he not be successful when he has the coveted title of Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player?
The award that has gone to the losing quarterback
in both
games that it has existed in.
Oh my god, it's so good. No, I there's people who are shitting on the Steelers, but when you look at the contract, it's like, okay, he's a stopgap quarterback who maybe, for all we know, and not to go after the Bears here, Matt, but if the Bears truly screwed him up with their coaching,
yes, and then big chance that happened. And
then he ends up going to a really good coach in Mike Tomlin, and he ends up succeeding. Like, they've got a great defense. I think that current Mitch can be better than really, really washed up Big Ben. So it is an upgrade. Like, it is 1,000% an upgrade, but it is. I mean, it's not the huge upgrade. It's not like, again, we're not sitting here being like he will definitely be a franchise quarterback. Yeah. But imagine if he could be.
another team that, for his sake, needs O-line help.
Yes, I definitely. Well, they did sign. Speaking of the Bears, the Steelers did sign James Daniels from the Bears, so that was a really good guard that the Bears also lost. Sorry about your offensive line.
They just got. It's not gonna matter. Nothing else will matter unless there's an O-line.
Yeah, I know. It's rough. Larry,
no longer deny it.
Larry Ogunjobi. Oh, speaking of the Bears, Larry Ogunjobi signed with the Bears defensive tackle.
Feels good. I like it. Wrong side of the ball.
There you go.
What a good signing.
Brandon Sheriff went to the. Oh, okay. We have to stop on this. We have to go through the Jaguar picks here. So Brandon Sheriff went to the Jaguars. Foye Olakun went to the Jaguars. Fali Fadokasi went to Jaguars. Both defensive players that played pretty well last year. Christian Kirk went to the Jaguars. I don't have the numbers here, but boy, did this signing cause an uproar where he got basically guaranteed money of like 80-something fucking million dollars, and then it was amazing.
The way that I've seen the Jaguars signings described, and sorry I don't have a source on this, was your drunk friend in fantasy who's like trying to get all the sick deals, but then spends all of his fab on these sick deals, and then they're not really worth much.
Right.
It's all those players. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. It's like all the ones that are like, ooh, but what if they did something?
Oh my god. And it's completely screwing up the market too. Like there's teams who are like there's agents that are like, oh hey, yeah, see what this guy signed in Jacksonville, and people are like, don't use Jacksonville as a marker. They are out of their minds over there.
Allen Robinson is not going to get signed on a team because no one's going to want to pay what he wants to get paid compared to Christian Kirk.
I know it's wild. I mean, who knows, man? Maybe it improves the Jaguars a bit, but they are spending a lot of money for it.
Okay, but you're going from like DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault, both like serviceable wide receivers, to Christian Kirk and Zay Jones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was another one. That was.
Yeah. That feels like a complete lateral move to me. I mean, you still got Laviska, but
yeah, it's a weird one. Oh, this is a good one. Hassan Reddick to the Eagles. I really like this signing. I thought this was a big time Panthers defensive player who played really, really well there. He played well with the Cardinals when he was there as well. He's now back in his home, or when I say hometown, he went to Temple. So, he's back with the Eagles. That was a good one. Let's see. Roger Saffold to the Bills. Teddy Bridgewater to the Dolphins.
Good backup.
Yeah. Now that's interesting. I think that ultimately it's a good backup. And if Tyrod truly does not work...
Tua.
Wait, who did I just say?
Tyrod.
God damn it. Tua. So we'll talk about Tyrod in a second. Yeah. But yes, Tua. If Tua does not work out for the Dolphins, Teddy Bridgewater is definitely a serviceable quarterback to kind of get you push forward. It reminds me a bit about the Fitzpatrick signing. Where that kind of worked out for them, where they were kind of in the mix near the end of the year, as they were last year too. So we'll see. Maybe will finally be the time for the Dolphins. I don't know. Who knows? All right, here's the big one that has happened thus far. To me, I think the biggest.
Oh, this really big one.
Oh, not that one.
The Colts re-signed offensive tackle Matt Pryor. This has been Matt Watch.
Oh, okay. Have you been looking for a Matt for free agency?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw one. It happened 40 minutes ago. So.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. The big signing I was going to talk about was what we were mentioning earlier about J.C. Jackson going to the Chargers. This guy was, I think he led the league in interceptions, or at the very least, he's just been a ball hawk. So pair him with Derwin James and Asante Samuel, and add on the fact that you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on this fucking team now. Oh my!
I love the Chargers this year. I hope they actually can fucking make the playoffs, Raiders.
Right. Oh my god. Yeah.
Fuck the Raiders.
This is a wild fucking division, man. This is a wild division.
It's it's impossible to say that Wilson's the thing that makes the Broncos win a Super Bowl. No.
We don't know.
No.
Right. Well, because think about what the circumstance. Because I think a lot of us are going to end up comparing it to the last few years where you had the Tom Brady trade and the Matthew Stafford trade. But Tom Brady had an NFC South that had a shriveled up Drew Brees and a Falcons team that was nearing its decline, and the Panthers team that wasn't very good. Then you had that, and that was in 2020. Then you had 2021 Matthew Stafford, where that team was a tough division, granted, but they ended up also having a shit ton of other parts that were superstars kind of ended up coming together for that team to work out. There it was still a tough it was a tougher division, definitely, but at the end of the day, they still had the Seahawks in that division, which was a bottom team, and a Cardinals team that peaked way too early. their toughest opponent ultimately ended up being the 49ers. You're not going to get that bottomed out team in any of your opponents, essentially. Like, even the Raiders, to an extent, I think, are still going to be somewhat competitive against the Broncos, and that's going to make everything a living hell for, I think, anyone in that division. Like, I don't want to sit here and be like the Chiefs are still going to stop on everyone, or the Chargers are going to take over the division. Like, I just think it's so hard to make any sort of leeway in this division right now, because I think all of them have some upside to them. It's just going to be a very hard division to win.
Absolutely.
Let's see. So, Evan Ingram went to the Jaguars. I'm happy for him that he's out of the way for the Giants. Feel like that was a missed opportunity for us to use him more, for the Giants to use him more. CJ Uzomah, former Bengal, went to the Jets.
Jets. I tried to do the cheer and my brain farted.
Jets. Just trying to see if there's anyone else that was really super interesting. Justin Reed to the Chiefs. That signing ended up being a sign that Tyrann Mathieu is probably not going to go back to the Chiefs, so he's out there right now. DJ Chark to the Lions.
Cool.
Randy Gregory to the Broncos. Now, this one was interesting because I know that I think the name Randy Gregory probably for a lot of people still feels like, that guy has been suspended many, many times. But a lot of the reporting and also just clearly the evidence on the field has shown that he's turned his life around. He's been better, and he's been actually really great for the Cowboys. What was funny about this story was that the news came out, I think, earlier today, that Randy Gregory was planning on re-signing with the Cowboys. Then at the very last second, just decided to leave the Cowboys at the altar to sign with the Broncos. And I just think that's hilarious. I love when that happens. We've seen it with Anthony Barr before. We've seen it with Frank Gore before. So Randy Gregory just adds on to that great total there. Then we have Marcus Williams to the Ravens. Pretty good safety signing there. J.D. McKissick to the Bills is a very interesting signing.
That is, yeah. Good pass catcher.
So definitely, I mean, the Bills definitely have had problems with their running game. I don't know if McKissick could improve on that front, but it's still a very nice weapon overall. Russell Gage, who had a really nice time with the Falcons, he's now with the Buccaneers. And then, I think that pretty much covers it. Oh, yeah, and just as we were recording, Tyrod Taylor signed with the Giants. I like that a lot. Think if things really spiral terribly with Daniel Jones, hey, put in Tyrod for a few games. He was entertaining with the Texans. Maybe he'll be entertaining with the Giants. We'll see.
For sure.
And that really covers a lot. I had a lot more written down, but I just kind of figured there's just too much to cover in all one sitting. One last news story here. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are no longer NFL on Fox.
Oh.
Instead, they're going to be the voices of Monday Night Football.
No way, they both?
They both.
This is news to me.
Yeah,
they're both going.
They're both going to ESPN. And so Joe Buck, I love that we're getting the in real time reaction.
Top 10 anime betrayals.
Yeah, so it started out, the news was that Troy Aikman was trying to get a deal done with Fox. His deal was running out with Fox. He wanted a deal with them, but they decided not to bring any contract to the table. So ESPN swooped in, signed him, and then it became, well, can ESPN lure Joe Buck to Monday Night Football? And I was shocked because I was like, Joe Buck, he has the World Series. There is no way that he's going to move off of wanting to call the World Series.
Right.
But yet, ESPN Fox allowed Joe Buck to talk to ESPN, and they signed him in exchange. Matt, this is a trade, by the way.
Ooh, a trade. There's another wild story of the last time that a broadcaster was traded. I can talk about that once you're done.
Yes, you could definitely bring that one up, because it's not as entertaining, but essentially what
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's a weird one. Joe Buck going to the ESPN. In exchange, Fox will have first say over the Big Ten football games for next season. Next season alone. Feels like ESPN got a better deal, in my opinion, on that one. But it's a weird one. But fascinating story from the broadcasting point of view. We also know that Al Michaels, he's moving out of the broadcasting booth on that front. We're moving out of the Sunday Night Football broadcasting booth. He's going to Amazon to do the Thursday Night Football games. At least that's the last thing we've heard. I'm pretty sure that's going to still be the case, because now Monday Night Football is completely closed off.
He was the guy who was traded.
Yes.
For fucking Oswald the Rabbit, so Disney could use him in Epic Mickey.
That's so weird. Have they ever? Did they ever?
He's in Epic Mickey too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. What a strange circumstance. So Al Michaels is going to Amazon. We don't know who his partner is yet. And now, who the fuck knows what's going to happen with Fox? There's a chance, Matt, that it's going to be Kevin Burkhardt, who's had many years as the number 2 guy for Fox, and he's done many things for Fox. He's a pretty good broadcaster. But there's a chance, Matt, that your color analyst is going to be one Greg Olson.
Ooh, I like that.
As your number 1. We don't know. Nothing solidified. Everything obviously is on the table. This is new, and it's a new scar for Fox and NFL on Fox. But yeah, fascinating broadcasting carousel going on right now.
For sure.
And that's that. That's our podcast. That was a lot. That was a lot to talk about.
Yep. But it's been a long time since we did this, because life is weird.
Life is weird. And also, but granted, 90% of the stories we talked about were from this past week.
True.
So
Fair.
It's just also been a fucking week, for sure.
Yes.
So I don't know when we'll have another podcast right now. We're gonna still take some time. We might take next week off. We're gonna try to we're again, with a lot of life stuff going on, we want to try to figure things out, kind of pace ourselves. We don't want to rush anything. We don't want to get back into we don't want to go back on a VBFL grind, because that is a property of ours that takes a lot of energy.
Yes.
From us.
Fun,
emotionally.
but
yes.
exhausting.
Yeah. Yes. So it's it's one of those things where we just we want to be in the right mindset for it. So we're gonna take a break from that. We will come back with another podcast soon. We'll let the news stories build up, and I'm sure there will be a lot more to talk about. Some big names still out there too for free agency that have not been signed yet. Even though technically free agency hasn't started, this is the legal tampering period, quote unquote. It's very weird that they call it legal tampering.
It is, yeah.
It's just a weird way to go about that. But anyways, folks, we will be back when we can. But for now, thank you all so much for listening, and make sure you keep tabs on our Twitter account for any updates, I guess, or just on this feed. We're showing up randomly right now. We'll show up randomly again in a few weeks. Thank you all so much again, and we will see you in a few weeks.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys, and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.